Hi, this is Nico Haupt, aka Ewing 2001, and for all the regular audience, unfortunately, you have not the nice face of Paula Gloria today. So Paula Gloria actually allowed me to taking over for maybe 30 minutes and present once again highlights of this year's 9/11 anniversary protest and events in New York City. And I try my best. She will be back regularly, and this is further down the rabbit hole. So what I brought this week are recovered tapes from the weekend during the New York 9/11 anniversary, and I filmed at Cooper Union, which was attached to the event of Les Jamieson. This is a guy who entered the New York 9 Truth Group at the beginning of 2004. Before it was co-founded by myself and 3 other people, which I met in the first 9/11 meetup ever in New York City. Among them Angie Dioso and also Mitch Thompson, former web administrator of Kyle Hans. So you see they're already a controversial figure at the beginning. Like I was opposing Kyle Hans, Nico Haupt creates an activist group, and then all of a sudden Les Jamieson takes over and he's attached to a controversial issue like Urantia. What is Urantia? For those who don't know, it is a US intelligence cult. The reason why they're creating cults is always to control intelligent people, co-opting them over their kind of intelligence they want to control. So usually they use spirituality as a momentum to control these groups. And Jamieson didn't even deny that he's attached to Urantia, but he found it rather unimportant that this cult is still infiltrated by the NSA. And you see in the documentation by Urantia themselves that they also don't make a secrecy out of it. It's actually trustee emeritus called Neil Waldrop who is in that organization, and he's the main translator of the Chinese book for Urantia. Well, anyway, this is all old news. When I tried to lay it out in the end of 2006, I got opposed, I got flamed, and I was a troublemaker as usual. This actually helped, ironically, to build a much more authentic media activist group, which was We Are Change, which at that point did only exist on paper, but it helped basically Luke Rutkowski then do actually media activism. Now the irony has it that he's himself also manipulator caught by Alex Jones, and we know the background of Alex Jones linked to Scientology, and not talking about the Jesuits. So he has a lot of opponents which find him rather suspicious, and Prison Planet's main writer actually from England. So then you can now speculate who are the Watson brothers, who's running their show. Anyway, we know about these diversions, and no one is free of them. It is the purpose of any organization to infiltrate them as good as possible and to divert and distract them from inane side issues. I can only do the same. Like day one, I'm bringing my research and have to lay it out as best as I can, and you decide how important is it or not. Is it another diversion or not? Well, let's just roll some tape I brought here from Webster the Cooper Union, and this is actually now when I'm entering that stage. I had a free ticket. Let's see what happens. Rolling the tape now. You see actually now Andy. Andy was one of the bodyguards of Les Jamieson. So Andy once tried to break my neck. That was some weeks ago. Whether you believe it or not, I have some witnesses for that. This year is a good guy. He is more or less with both groups, the New York 9 Truth Group, but also We Are Change. And here we have Kevin Barrett, and I'm talking with him about the latest incident the only version of the Truthlings so-called Kennebunk flop, which I coined.
Barrett. So what's your take on the latest diversion? Now you have the diversion, which usually is linked to myself, and now you're setting up yourself or Captain May, complete bullshit artist. So you want a statement on that? Why do you get fooled by Captain May?
Well, Captain May has been putting out these sorts of warnings, as has my friend and colleague Webster Tarpley.
Webster.
Yeah.
Right, Webster.
You got to come in now. You're in my slideshow. I want you to see yourself.
Oh, what were you about
Webster, I have exclusive footage from Cosmos. I have exclusive footage from Cosmos. He complains that he call him Co-Interpro.
Huh? I discovered his true identity, which will be revealed here in just a minute.
No, he's here.
Absolutely.
He's here.
Well, then we're gonna show you his true
Well,
identity.
you know.
That's a good old Webster Tarpley. It's actually a very entertaining story. If I would write soap opera, I would maybe do it exactly like that. So what's the real story about the Kennebunk flop? Or I call already the Kennebunk flop op. Yes, it is another psyop, but it's actually, as the usual psyop, very following a very simple script. The original story is actually that Captain May, well known as an instigator based on numerology, he's creating all these fears among allegedly staged false flag linked to some numerology principle and then turn into a real terror attack. He's doing this kind of stunt now for at least a year and everyone is mocking him. He was pretty well known. He's sending out a lot of spam mails and alerting the people anytime when there's a kind of more popular war game or turtle. He's linking it back then to some kind of 90 plus 6 minus 4 plus equals something numerology and thinks that on particular days this has to happen and that had to happen. Well, whatever you think about Barrett, but I think he's a kind of player who's playing with the flow. I don't want to use this show here right now to discredit him because I think he's not one of the bigger players in this 9M Truthling movement. Meanwhile, he's siding softly with the TV fakery supporters, also looking to direct entry weapons. The purpose why I tried to interview him is actually to inform the people that he was the one who somehow setting up Webster Tarpley, or was it Webster Tarpley setting up himself? We don't know. It is also not a secret that Webster actually was a LaRouche member. This is how it works in the Truthling movement. They always use these kind of reset buttons and then they claim they never knew. Well, it was not a big secret from day one. LaRouche also tried to infiltrate the 9M Truth movement. Webster is himself a known neo-LaRouchian who's playing his own cult, but doesn't mean he actually controls the masses as strongly as other infiltrators. As a matter of fact, he's the most intelligent one, so he has much more truth to say than actually everyone else. The sad part is, when I was too close to Webster Tarpley, they somehow separated us from each other. So I got discredited, Webster Tarpley got discredited because of the association with me, and so the big marketing campaign was then that a guy called Charlie Sheen spoke out on 9M Truth, and all of a sudden there was a merger between the groups I already accused as Co-Interpro, which is 9M Truth Org, and Alex Jones and Webster Tarpley. And this is how the soap opera started into a new level of mergers of obscure personalities. Anyway, good old Webster Tarpley then created a kind of document in Kennebunk port and allied with peaceniks. And the only good news is that these so-called peaceniks revealed themselves. They're not on the side of revealing the evidence of 9M false flag. They're praying the same memes and ovarian slogans like we need a new reinvestigation or there's something fishy about 9/11, but they don't actually tell you what is the problem with 9/11. They just keep it very vague so that they cannot be discredited by their own fellows, the anti-war movement. And so Mr. Tarpley, Webster, got some signatories on the paper. The soap opera continued like the same people all of a sudden denied they ever signed. Maybe they were too stupid to really read the document, but I think these were actually authentic signatures. So they backed up, and now we have a diversion between the anti-war movement and the 9M Truth movement. And see how stupidity and simplicity can create all these diversions. You don't get that with TV fakery. that strong like they're setting up themselves over stupidity. Anyway, now it turns like Webster Tarpley must know very much this info because he's attached to me, and this is how it works. Once research is attached too strongly to one guy, the research itself gets discredited over that guy. But the irony is TV Faker is not attached any longer to just one guy. It is attached still to the footage we analyzed, and the evidence is out there. There were no real planes on the second hit. It is a simple story. You should watch September Clues and many other documentaries or mashups which look into the same patterns of discrepancies, flight paths. It's a logical and mathematically and a physical evidence that no second plane hit the towers on the television. Let's look a little more into this footage and maybe fast forward if it gets too boring. Here's now Webster Tarpley again.
He's basing his so-called warnings on a numerology bullshit.
Hello, Bob. You got a ticket?
Yeah, I have a ticket.
You're in it, so be there. I'm not allowed to be here.
I have a ticket, man.
Anyway, this is maybe all not so interesting. The more interesting part, since we love a good soap opera, is how I actually got kicked out after I did a more or less harmless interview with Mr. Kevin Barrett. So while I'm fast forwarding, I hope we come to the point where you try to escape from the debate.
The system can render basically geo-registered data in real time. They can simulate 65 nations by now, and they openly confirm that they experiment with direct engines.
Here I try to explain once again the Future Comet System. Future Comet System, if you Google right now, is a kind of military Google Earth which was developed before 9/11, and the concept goes up until the year 2025. It is also a man-machine concept. It actually attached kind of super soldiers and desktop soldiers via consumer games into the same wargame application private defense contractors developed over the last few years. That means that the future of the soldier is not necessarily in a country anymore. He's actually sitting in a desktop. He can fire missiles, but as also revealed, these are not conventional missiles anymore. Partly it is directed energy weapons. Just Google directed energy weapons and Future Comet System. You find the confirmations of Boeing, of Lockheed, Raytheon, SIC, and this is why the anti-war movement is infiltrated to not focusing on these issues, because then the audience of the anti-war movement would actually not talk about hangout issues like bring the troops home, but try to stop a much bigger issue than the sides show Iran. It is World War IV-5. I call it World War IV and 5 to speak with the same language like the neocons, because they claimed World War III happened already. It was a Cold War, and they're describing actually day one after 9/11 as World War IV. Who said this? Elliot Cohen, James Woolsey, and Norman Podhoretz. It's an interesting combination, because the father of Norman Podhoretz was also behind the overhyping of the Soviet Union threat. Is linked to PlanB. PlanB is same kind of think tank which forwarded their script for PNAC, Project for New American Century. Now, Project for New American Century, as we know, are already the puppets to distract from Future Comet System and the prior military contractors. At the same year when PNAC was created, we had also the creation of a US Space Command, which developed these direct energy weapons and other derivatives, also antimatter weapons, neutrino weapons, in laboratories like White Sands, New Mexico, at Los Alamos, at Kirtland Air Base, and a lot of other stations. If you want to look more into this, maybe go to 911movement.org, go into the media section, and you find 3 pages of research compiled on Future Comet System, how it integrates the direct energy weaponry, how it also might have functioned on 9/11 as a prototype by taking over the mainstream feed and then replacing them with a military feed, including the possibility that 80% of the landscape you're seeing are actually also recreated, what we call gray boxing. But we have also to upgrade our language, because they're using applications which are still getting improved, so we already behind how the technique really works. But to simplify it, what you saw was a kind of combination of remapped, re-digitized skyline and a CGI aircraft. Well, it took maybe now 6 years to get this out. We have no 6-digit numbers on the internet, but that doesn't mean there's a real breakthrough. It just means that more and more people waking up in their reality, which is the underground. Once the establishment picking something up, you sure will get it in a spin which they can co-opt. So I'm not spreading false hope either, but I'm saying we're getting to something. The knowledge on direct entry weapon will come out. There's a conference now in DC on 9/20. There's another huge conference in Alabama and all the players involved. Let's forward again and see what happens now after I'm confronting Kevin Barrett on his mess up with Captain May. This Andy tries to get the bodyguards involved.
On the thesis that direct entry
so let's skip this whole direct entry weapon talk and see what happens when all of a sudden Andy wants to kick me out again, or wants to finally kick me out. Sorry that I make it here in a kind of amateurish way, but basically try to program this show in real time.
Because they're not speaking strongly enough against direct entry weapons, including the anti-war movement, who doesn't know anything about direct entry weapons.
I don't know about...
Well, we got that point. The anti-war movement is not speaking about these weapons because they're already infiltrated at the top. Let's forward here a little bit more because before it coming to the action. So, because that's more entertaining actually than some of these boring Nico Haupt interviews. So, let's see. Hope we can find the point. Here's Kevin Barrett standing out and not really saying is he now pro-T fake or DV not. Here's actually ironic. We have here Sophia. I didn't recognize her actually. Sophia is the director of 9/11 Mysteries. She also doesn't recognize me. It's very funny actually.
Not being removed for any other reason except that you're a troublemaker.
Yeah. No. What's trouble I'm raising right now? Filming you? Is that trouble?
Do you have a ticket?
Yes, I have a
Let's
ticket.
go get your refund.
No, I don't want to have a refund.
This is the organizer.
Good.
You gotta go. That's it.
So you wanna kick me out, Jameson? For what reason? For what reason you wanna kick me out?
There's some negativity you want? Something about marching on us? Is that what you said?
I'm not marching into you, Kevin Barrett.
Marching on Kevin Barrett.
No, I'm not marching into you, Kevin Barrett.
So what do you want? What are you filming for?
I'm getting B-roll for Paul LeGros, I'm getting B-roll for myself. I'm just filming the event. That's all I'm doing. I'm doing some interviews. I'm not alienating
Is there
anyone.
anything else going on here that I need to know and be concerned?
Well, as you see, nothing is going actually. It's kind of even boring. There's no situation on my side. There's no situation on their side. All they need to know is finding a reason to kick me out. And this,
Based on history,
what is Jameson doing right
You
now?
want to remove me, huh? Did you watch September Cruise yet, Jameson? When was the last time you spoke with your handlers in the NSA? Neil Waldrop, Urantia?
You need to leave the hall. You need to leave.
What's your name? What's your name, please?
What's your
your
name?
ridiculous lies.
Nice face.
Ridiculous lies.
Don't be mad at her. That's just the one of the security guards. They're doing just their job.
Insinuations or falling
The rule has it if the owner, or the organizer of an event wants to get you out, you have to
Please
go.
leave the hall, please. Take that outside. Thank you.
Okay, I have B-roll enough. Thanks so much. What's your name?
So
The guy was linked still to Urantia and the
Okay,
NSA.
can you walk into
Moving
her?
on.
I would appreciate it.
and here's how
Sir.
a controversial 9 researcher gets removed from a 9 research event. And the irony has it that 90% of all that research can be traced back to the 9 Science and Justice Alliance, a group I co-founded in 2002 together with Jeff King, MIT. So now I'm getting him moved out. And this is how the truth movement works. Removing the truth. Anyway, so I'm getting whisked out and it's all very nicely done. I'm not mad at these guys. Outside I try to get some feedback of visitors, what they think about removing me from the spot.
Hey, how's it going? Good, good. You one of the visitors, huh?
What's that?
You're one of the visitors.
One of the witnesses?
Visitors?
I don't know what you're saying.
Well, you're one of the audience, yeah?
Audience, yeah?
Okay. What do you think about that 9 researchers are getting removed from this event?
Oh, I didn't know that was going on. I just got here.
Yeah, I'm one of these 9 researchers who just got removed. Not only that, I was one of the co-founders of New York Times Truth. Got removed from...
Well, I'm dribbling a little bit about the history of New York Name Truth. Here's another guy, also regular of Urantia Church, New York Name Truth. So I'm asking him also what he thinks about 9 researchers getting removed.
Well, he whisked me out with security guards.
Well, how can I comment? I didn't
You think it...
witness it.
Huh?
I don't know what happened.
Right, okay, well, enjoy the event.
Right, they came too late, they don't get involved, they don't want to talk about it. This is also how it works. I mean, if you don't see something, you cannot comment on this, but the very same people claim that there were witnesses who saw the plane, so they take that more for serious. They use second-hand research to create an own ideology around the nice little cult, and then they call it 9 Truths. The truth is, these are not truthers, they are untruthers, and all they want to do is sitting nicely to each other, having some nice harmonical talk about inane nonsense and getting nothing accomplished. So it's just about getting an innuendo of never-ending solved issues, never coming to any progress, and just dribbling around about the stupid, inane talking points, which has nothing to do with research anymore. It has even nothing to do with activism anymore. The only real media activism right now is actually done by We Are Change, and they're getting co-opted. And once again, no one cares, because it's just about keeping the ball rolling, and just as long as the movement exists, it's fine. That's the same what the peace movement is telling you. As long as they're selling the nice buttons, everything is just fine. The irony is, if there wouldn't be war, there wouldn't be anti-war movement. The anti-war movement is actually profiting from the war, and it can still sell the nice buttons and bumper stickers. The rare visitors today. No, we have Frank Morales.
Yeah, definitely CIA.
Yeah, no, he's not CIA, but
CIA.
He's here, one of the local priests who's helping Les Jamieson running.
SCIA.
Oh, okay. So, Frank.
No, SSCIA.
Okay, Frank. So Les Jamieson removed me again after I peacefully interviewed.
Les who?
Les Jamieson.
The name doesn't ring a bell.
That's a good one. Well, the organizer from this event removed me after I did an interview with Kevin Barrett on behalf of Paula Gloria's TV show, who actually tried to invite Kevin Barrett, and so he removed me. What do you think about it?
Well, I don't know, man. You know, I was very happy to, I supported you when we had you over at the church. I think that, you know, you have a history of, you know, sticking to your guns, but nonetheless I find some of your work interesting and worth exploring and all the rest, so I don't know. What did you do? Did you put a pie in somebody's face or something? Or?
No, nothing. My point is...
why would they want to throw you out? You're
I want to do...
well-reasoned and sincere individual.
I tried to talk with Karen Barrett about direct energy weapons, now confirmed by New York Post. And I tried about Captain May, which I consider as a big disinformation artist, based his warnings on some obscure numerology, and it's diverting the movement by tricking Webster Tarpley into a statement, which is then diverting the movement again by hooking up with the anti-war movement, who then deny that they ever signed the Kennebunkport warning. And meanwhile, everyone is accusing everyone being COINTELPRO, Truth Revolution Radio involved, so there's a lot of chaos. I couldn't even establish that in 6 years. So that's why I did an interview with Kevin Barrett. Why is he allowing obscure people getting interviewed in his show and stirring all this trouble? Well, you don't need to comment on that, but that's actually one of the interviews I tried to get accomplished and get some B-roll.
It was too obscure for me to, I didn't quite get the question.
Yeah. Well, anyway, this is Frank Morales, and
I think that there's a lot more that people have in common than that divides them, and that you know, I would hope that we could get to a place where at least we could create a forum for people to put their stuff forward. Because, for instance, this whole thing about lasers and the use of lasers in terms of the demolition of the towers and so forth and so on. People ask me about that because I've done some work in this, and
right, I saw you even in 2000 or 2001 you were talking about direct energy weapons very early. I actually had my updates. Frank Morales.
There's some credence to the notion that some of the remnants, you know, the visible evidence of the destruction of the tower. You know, there are some signs there of the potential use of something other than explosives.
So, and I mean, one of the researchers who were pressing very often was me. So, I mean, so they removed now someone who's actually convinced Jim Fetzer and maybe also Webster Tarpley to talk about all these things. So they're removing actually the original researchers, which was me.
Well, you have to not just always remember that the information and the research that's gonna rise to the top. You know what I mean? If it's credible.
So this week,
you know,
New York Post.
Don't take it so personally.
Right, I don't take personally. Just right now, New York Post confirms this week that they used direct energy weapon in an airborne laser from Boeing, which is also old news.
Yeah.
Boeing did receive the contract in 2000.
Yeah.
Then we have Al Jones writing about direct energy weapon in 2004. Since then, zero. So I'm pointing out why they're self-censoring them.
You know, it's not impossible. Whether or not, you know, they've been utilizing, you know, for instance, when we first were talking about electromagnetic pulse weaponry, people were saying, no, this is whatever. Now they're, you know, they were field testing it years ago. I wrote a piece on it, I don't know, 2004 or whatever. Now they're bringing in it, using it in Iraq, and from what I heard, there's different places that people think it's being used
right,
here.
And we have the names of the weapons. They're using Thor, Mthel, Thel. There's even, I mean, Thor is developed by Israelis. We have Mthel and Thel. We have Yonatron with the Jinn. They used these weapons already in 2002.
So you know what I'm saying is that it's not out of the realm of possibility, and I know there are some leads because I've been looking at that. Because I take everything, you know, I try to be reasonable to the point of let me see what you got, and if there's something there. And there are some avenues of research around the use of lasers and stuff like that at the towers that needs to be explored. That's what I would say. So I would just say keep digging, put out the information. If people don't want to deal with you, you put out the information anyway, and people will deal with the information.
Okay. Thanks so much, Frank. This was Frank Morales exclusively for Paul La Gloria down the rabbit hole. And the batteries. So, luckily we have enough people who still talk with me. This is Total 9/11. He's doing a very popular radio show.